Hello, Happy New Year. In today's video, I'll do a quick update of my YouTube and then I'll talk about my portfolio for February 2026. Here's a very quick update to my YouTube performance. As a lot of you might know, doing YouTube videos is not my job, right? I don't make a living out of it. So I don't check on my monetization, on my watch hours, on my view counts that often. I did a check this week and pleasantly surprised that I'm actually going to hit the 4,000 monetization requirement. So maybe to a lot of people they can reach it quite easily, but to me it sure took quite a while. So yep, happy to reach that milestone of like 95%, just a bit more to go. Now without further ado, let me discuss the portfolio updates for February. As of February 2026, my portfolio is about 3.3 mil. That excludes the home equity of about 250k. I probably expect the portfolio to drop because of the onslaught of AI, and I do not have a lot of exposure to AI stocks. So welcome the January to February 2026 portfolio update. My portfolio value reached 3.3 mil, representing a 3% month-over-month gain with dividend income of about 2.5k. So our top performers for this period is CTL and the Japanese trading house. CTL continues to leverage on its 38% global EV battery market share with strong profitability. The Japanese trading house, Marubeni, Mitsui, Itochu, and Mitsubishi, they surged about 20% year to date. So they significantly outperformed the broader market, probably backed by Warren Buffett in 3 stakes. So on the downside, Alibaba faced headwinds from Chinese and American regulators, so declined probably about 20%. Meanwhile, Wilkshop experienced profit taking after last year's exceptional rally, pulling back 23%. IBM shares suffered their worst single-day drop since 2000, wiping over $31 billion from market value after Anthropic announced Claude new Kobo modernization capabilities. It came as a shock to a lot of people because Kobo system modernization has traditionally been a core IBM consulting service. I think that the market overreacted to Claude Kobo capabilities as a threat, when IBM is actually positioned to benefit from their existing partnership. Traditionally, the migration to new system, to new programming code like Java has not been easy. So there are already LLMs that allow the code conversion to be there. So the code conversion is probably not the hard part, but the accountability is the more significant, or the one that causes a lot of friction for the conversion. So when you have AI writing the code that runs critical system, who is going to be liable when it fails? Especially your Kobo system is going to power banks, utilities, or government agencies. So there's a case where you have the UK Post Office Horizon scandal, where you have a supposedly reliable accounting system built by Japanese Fujitsu, contained undetected bugs, and it took 2 decades to uncover the truth. So it is more of a governance failure compared to a coding error. Overall, I think the portfolio diversified approach across geographies and sectors delivered quite solid gains, even with very little exposure to AI. So I think that it should position myself well for continued market volatility ahead. So if you've been watching the market lately, you might have noticed some software stocks have pulled back a lot. Part of that seems to be tied to how fast AI is moving. Companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, and others are putting out models that can do things that we used to need separate software for. Publishing and legal software companies have suffered sharp declines in their share price after Anthropic revealed a tool for use by the company's legal departments. Shares of cybersecurity software companies like CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, they also slumped by about 8% after Anthropic introduced another new security feature into its cloud AI model. So that's not a bad thing, I think. It's just that there's a lot of change, and the change happens so fast that the markets tend to react. Now Adobe, they're not new to this. They've been adding AI features for a while. Firefly, Generative Fill in Photoshop, AI Assist in Premiere. They're trying to bake these tools into the workflow that people already use. And if you have seen some of the videos of how Firefly work, they're very impressive. So the thing about Adobe is that they have a huge user base and a lot of workflow already being locked in. If you're a designer, you're an editor, if you want to switch tools, it means that you have to switch and change out your habits, your files, your team collaboration and licensing. So at the same time, I know and I get it why people are watching the company stocks very closely. Wherever you have new AI tools coming out that can generate images, write copy, or edit videos with just a prompt, it is very natural to wonder that does this change the value of the tools that they have been paying for? And of course, the question is affecting how investors look at software companies right now. Not just about Adobe, but a lot of them. So maybe it's less about the catastrophe, but more about recalibration. Like when AI can do more, how will the company's moat be affected? So does all this AI stuff actually weakens Adobe moats? I would think so, because if you have a new tool that can generate a decent image or edit a clip with one prompt, the barrier to start creating actually gets lower. And that's very good for newbies, for newcomers. But does it actually replace the whole workflow? Maybe usually not. Because the last mile of creative work, that kind of like fine-tuning that you have to do, the brand guidelines that you have to follow, the client revisions, the handoff to developers, these are areas where Adobe still excel in. And that's where three things will come back in: the workflow, trust, and integration. Let's talk about the workflow. So if Adobe can make AI feels like just another tool in the panel, something that speeds up the boring parts without getting in the way, that's going to be sticky. Enterprise won't jump ship just because another app can do one cool trick. Trust, this is going to be a big one. A lot of pros and businesses, they cannot risk copyright gray areas. So Adobe pushing Firefly as one that's going to be trained on licensed content with commercial use covered. It's very important because if you are working for a campaign for a major brand, you have to cover the copyright area. Integration, and this is probably Adobe's advantage. If you're already on the Creative Cloud ecosystem, moving assets between Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, adding AI that just works across all of them is a heavy lift for any newcomer to match. So is the moat gone? I don't think so, but I think that the moat is being tested. Because I've used Adobe products before, and frankly, the fine-tuning and calibration part cannot be done by AI or just by writing prompts at the current moment. But I think there's a good chance that AI can help to set the foundation quickly, and in this case, may ironically reduce the number of seed licensing that the companies need to buy from Adobe. Let's talk a bit about Figma. So if you have spent any time in the design circles, you probably have heard a lot of people saying, I just prefer Figma. It is fast, it is in the browser, collaboration is going to be seamless, and it feels lighter, so less baggage. And you can also check on Indeed and see how many recruiting companies are actually listing Figma as a technical requirement compared to Adobe. And yes, it is very easy to see why, for a lot of designers, especially in product, UI, or startups, Figma just fits the way they work now. You can share a link, get a feedback, iterate. No need to do file exports, no version chaos. It's very similar to Canva, and I've done this video using Canva. Now, I also have heard a lot of people saying things like Adobe feels heavy, or I only use it because I have to, because the apps do feel complex, and the subscription model adds up. So if you want to do one thing without loading up an entire ecosystem, you probably just want to work with Figma. So there's one thing, preference and enterprise needs are not always the same. So Figma is amazing for agile teams, for product designs, for fast iteration, but a lot of big companies, agencies, global brands, media house, they're still very deep into Adobe, and it is not just because they are slow to change. And because of the practical reasons like security and compliance, your big organization will need controls, SSO, audit logs, data residencies, approval workflows. So Adobe has actually spent a lot of years building that right into the Creative Cloud for enterprise. And then we have your volume licensing and support. When you're managing hundreds and thousands of seats, you want it to be predictable. You want the building, the dedicated support, the training resources, everything to be there. So Adobe provides that infrastructure. Third, you have your full stack workflow. So marketing team is not just doing UI mocks. They are also doing photo retouching, video editing, motion graphics, print layouts, PDF workflows. So Adobe covers that breadth in a way that's still very hard to replicate with just a patchwork of different tools. So yes, it is true that Figma is going to be beloved, and there's good reason for doing so. On the other hand, Adobe is hated because of what many people perceive as predatory practices. So a lot of people miss the good old days where you buy one licensing, you buy it once and you own it forever. But if you're using the Creative Cloud, right, you have to rent it forever. If you stop paying, you lose access. When you add up all those Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, they add up to be a lot, right? For freelancers and small studios, that money cost is going to be a real business decision for them. It's no longer a hobby expense. And some of the apps, right, because they're powerful, they are also very resource intensive. So you have to spend a lot of time to start them up. You use a lot of RAM, and sometimes you'll just trash. So if you decide that you want to cancel, signing up is easy, right? But canceling is going to be very complicated. So it doesn't leave a very good taste in people's mouth. But we still need to understand that people prefer Figma and enterprise will switch. These two are two different point of view, and Adobe understand this, which is why they have been integrating collaboration features, cloud libraries, and AI into their enterprise workflow. So they are trying to mimic what Figma can do, but they are trying to do it better. I mean, after all, they did try to buy over Figma. Switching an entire organization toolset is going to be a massive lift. So it's not just about which app is going to be better. There's training to be done, your file migration, your vendor contracts, your IT approval. So there is real friction there. So my thing is that at current pricing, probably you want to relook into Adobe and think whether the risk of its mode getting eroded is real. Let me know if you are going to buy Adobe at the current pricing, and I'll catch you in the next video. For some of you who might already know, I run a small Telegram community. It's for like-minded people who are already fired, or seeking to fire. There's no ads, no sponsor and causes, as far as I can try to keep them out. So it's really a small community. If you're interested, do feel free to join, and I'll put a link in the comment description itself. And hope to see you there. If you like the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.